everybody? Welcome inside a beautiful Thursday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Episode of Running Point. You know, I got to get my boy, the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader, on the episode today. It's a national holiday for Star Wars fans. Ty, before we start, are you a Star Wars fan or no?
Yeah, I'd say I'm a fan to a certain extent. I've seen the movies. I'm not like a super fan. I'd say in
I'm not
anything.
going to Comic Cons and
Yeah,
just
yeah, but I've seen the movies and I've enjoyed the movies. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good enough. That's good enough for us. We got Ty Bartell on today because of the weather and the nastiness. It is now the start of a very, very big softball series in the area, something that Ty is very familiar with because he obviously is the voice of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. We want to bring him on to talk about this Fitch Canfield series. I mean, it's this late in the season. Both teams are undefeated in AAC. And this is for all the marbles. It's it. I mean, this is pretty much the AAC championship coming down to these next 2 days.
Absolutely, and I mean, along with seeing a lot of Fitch this year, I've actually gotten a chance to see a handful of Canfield games as well this year. So I've gotten to see the Cards in action quite a bit, and this is an exciting matchup on the softball diamond today. And really, we're looking at first and foremost in the circle two really dominant pitchers, both right-handers, and Sydney Watts and Milena Toth. And I mean, you look at these two, they're about as good as it gets in the area, too, and they both play in the same conference. And honestly, both strikeout machines. We've seen how many games where both of these pitchers have registered double-digit Ks against some of the best competition-wise in the area. And on top of that, these are both lineups that have so many 400 hitters scattered across them, too. You're going to see a grand total of 13 combined 400 batting averages amongst these two teams on the field tonight. It's absolutely incredible. 7 on the Fitch side, 6 on the Canfield side. And we have great batters up and down the lineup. You have two great pitchers in the circle. Something's got to give because both these teams undefeated in the AAC. And for it right now, I believe because Canfield still has a makeup game with Boardman that they have to do, if I'm not correct. So Canfield, if they win this game, they don't clinch a piece of the AAC championship, but they do a big step in doing so. Fitch tonight, though, can clinch with a win, at least a share of the AAC championship
This
for
is
the
their
fourth
last series, right?
time.
They have everyone else under wraps. They're done.
Yeah, 6-0 currently in the conference. So one win against Canfield will clinch at least a share of the conference for the fourth straight year.
One of the things that comes to mind really quickly when I watch both these teams tie is their lineups do things in a little bit different ways. Both very successful this year. Fitch has been powerful, right? They're hitting home runs like it's their job. Canfield has some power. I'm not going to try and sit here and say that like Canfield has no one that can hit home runs. There are hitters that have really found their stride, found their power, especially in the last couple weeks of the season, like Leah Figueroa. Really hit a couple of home runs in the last couple games. But Canfield this lineup is known a little bit more for the speed and the small ball that they can play. They have a lot of very, very fast hitters on this team that want to get on the base pass and then cause hectic chaos on the base pass once they get on there. How do you see the difference of these two lineups kind of shaking up tonight?
It's going to be interesting because Canfield, you're right, and they thrive on putting the ball in play and trying to use those legs to beat it out. They have a lot of really good bunters on this team. And I mean, you're talking top of the lineup down. I mean, you're talking girls, Jenna Treveri, Gianna Panunzi, all of them capable of laying down a bunt and then capable of beating it out the first. Canfield does it the small ball way, which they found a ton of success with this season, 15-1 record. And when you look at what Canfield's able to do, and they do like that, like we say, get them on, get them over, get them in. And they have a bunch of batters that put the ball in play. They don't strike out a ton, and that's what makes Canfield so successful and one of the top teams in Division II this year. And for Fitch, you're right, and we've seen so many games where the Falcon lineup, they might look flat for a couple innings or two, but they're always that one swing of the bat from turning it on its head. We just saw it recently with Tina Montgomery in a big grand slam against Champion, and it's like that's that old kind of Dodger ball mentality. We'll get that 3-run homer, and then we'll just worry about pitching the rest of the way through. Fitch looking for that big hit, and they're always capable 1 through 9 of any of those hitters delivering that big hit.
What I love about Fitch is, and this is something that people don't talk about their lineup too much, is yes, they're dangerous 1 through 9, but one of the reasons they are is because every hitter 1 through 9 has a pretty high softball IQ. So they're telling the next hitter, this is exactly what I saw. This is how this pitcher is attacking us. And they can, say that in a way that is very savvy to the game. And I think that's something that is really overshadowed and not talked about enough is, can you communicate really, really well what this pitcher is doing and how they're attacking you to the next person in the line? And I think Fitch from 1 to 9 have hitters that are trained to do that. They know exactly what they're seeing, and they have a high enough softball IQ to be able to do that. But this pitcher tie they're facing tonight might be the hardest one yet. Milena Toth has had a different look in her eye this year. They got to regionals last year. They lost to eventual state champion Worcester Triway. They want to get back to regionals. It's Toth's junior year. It's kind of the maker. Not I don't want to say make or break year, but it's that 1 year where you really start to turn the heads of college coaches. She's already committed to Buffalo to play in the MAC in Division One, so she's kind of gotten that out of her shoulder. But this junior year is where you kind of it's where you make your waves. It's where you kind of prove that you can play at the next level. There's just something different about Milena Toth in her eyes this year. There's something kind of more focus, more grit, and I really like what I'm seeing from her. I know you got to see her last year compared to this year. Do you see that too? Do you see kind of a different look to Milena Toth this year?
Absolutely. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head with it's the confidence that she has when she steps in that circle. And I mean, once she has it, it's go time. And to an 11-0 record for her this season, you're looking at two pitchers that haven't lost a game yet this season going at each other in the circle tonight. And I don't know how much more excited you could get. But on top of that, too, and we hinted the strikeouts, too. Over triple digits already in strikeouts on the season. And I mean, we've seen her have 17 strikeout games, 14 strikeout games, 13 strikeout games. She's striking out batters at a high rate. And usually what that means too is that if you don't even have to worry about the defense that's behind you, which by the way, both these teams have a really good defense behind them. But if you don't even have to worry about it, you're getting outs at the plate. You're doing something right in that circle. And that's what Milena Toth's doing. And it's also what's enabled her when she has gotten into jams this year compared to last is she's getting them out at the plate and they're not able to get productive outs and get runs across on her that way now. And now she's slamming the door shut on a lot of potential would-be scoring innings.
Canfield played the lineup that beat Fitch in the regionals last year in Hoover. Only got a couple innings in because of the rain, but in 2 innings pitched, Milena Toth struck out 5. So if that's just proof what you were saying, mowing through that top of the order of Hoover in the first time seeing him. We talk about Sydney Watts pitching, Ty. It almost feels like we talk about her too much, but I don't think you can with this kind of talent. I don't think it's ever a bad time to talk about Sydney Watts. I think it's a pretty good matchup considering that when she does give up runs, they're usually hard hit runs. Like, I mean, she's got the velocity. If you get it, if you can catch up to it, you can hit it a far away because she supplies the power. Canfield team that doesn't have a ton of power might be playing into Sydney Watts' hands.
They very well could be too. And what's exciting for this team as well is that they have the hitters that have experience against Sid as well. So I mean, it takes that veil of not knowing each other away for both of these teams too. There's no secrets to hide for these lineups or for these pitchers in the circle. So it's going to be really how creative you can get to get out. So obviously both these pitchers in the circle have powerful enough stuff that they can still register outs just because of their talent. But you know that these batting lineups, they know a little bit about these pitchers in the circle. They've seen them quite a few times. They know where they like to throw it to, what their breaking stuff kind of looks like, right? So it's going to be interesting this time around. And what's even more exciting too, and this isn't the last time we're going to see these two teams going at it and these two pitchers especially going at it. We still got a couple more matchups ahead of us.
Yeah, and I mean, no, unless something crazy happens, it's going to be Milena Toth versus Sydney Watts again tomorrow. And whichever way it goes, tomorrow's going to be even more important because the sweep does it. It's over. It's mine.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wins tonight is going to be really, really driven to win tomorrow, which is scheduled to be at Canfield. We'll see what the field conditions are like after today. Hopefully with no rain today and sunshine tomorrow, that field at Canfield will be ready to play because I know they want a home game in this series. You brought up a good point though, Ty. I think one of the advantages Canfield has, we talked about some of the advantages Sydney Watts has. This Canfield team is very senior led. 8 seniors on this team. They've all seen Sydney Watts before. It's not their first rodeo against this pitcher. And you might see a lot of adjustments from 1 year to last year in this Canfield lineup.
And you're talking about Fitch too being 3-time consecutive champions in the conference, going back to obviously the year before COVID and then the 2 years after. These are seniors too that want to go out with an AAC championship. They want to say that they won that crown because if you look at Canfield and Fitch, they've been parallel the last couple years in D1 and D2 once they get into the tournament. These are two really good softball teams that both have high aspirations of getting to Firestone Stadium. And I think they both have the talent on their teams to be able to make that type of run. But you're right, for Canfield having a bunch of seniors where Fitch is a little bit more younger base too on the freshman and sophomore side of things. These seniors, they want to have an AAC crown to have as their own to go out with for their senior year too. It's the one championship you can win in the regular season. Canfield wants to have a taste of that before the tournament starts, no doubt.
Yeah, and going back to, you said goals and wanting to get to Firestone Stadium, and interesting you said that because when we had Melina Toth on for her player profile, as soon as I asked what their goals were, without even hesitation, it was get to state, Firestone Stadium. That's where we want to be. And it was just like this. A lot of teams say it, but it was like without hesitation, this look and ride. I talked about it before. It seems like this Canfield team is kind of built for something greater this year. And I think whether this game goes the way they want to or not, whether this series goes the way they want to or not, there's nothing that they can't take away from this game. I don't think they're going to see another pitcher in Division Two, especially in the regionals, that is going to attack them like Sydney Watts. So this one, whether they really want it, but either way, should really prepare them for that district tournament on Division Two.
On top of the fact that it's AAC ball and the fact that these are hitters that are a little bit more comfortable with each other and pitchers more comfortable with each other, it's two really talented teams. And like you said, and this is a game that's really not a lose situation for either team. It's a win-win because when you come out of it, no matter who does win the actual ball game, both these teams should get better in the way that they have experienced another great talented pitcher, another great arm, and both pitchers experiencing a really good 1 through 9 lineup before a tournament starts. It's only beneficial to these teams that want to get to Firestone Stadium.
All right, so what I want you to do, since you're going to be on the call tonight, pick someone from Fitch and pick someone from Canfield that will be an X factor if they win. So let's start with Fitch. If Fitch wins, who do you think would be an X factor? I know there's a lot of players to choose from in that lineup, but who are you kind of feeling the mojo for tonight if Fitch is able to win?
Obviously, Sid's always an easy answer, right? And you want to look in the circle, but I'm going to go a little bit unique. And for me, it's going to be the top of the order, and it's going to be Ayla Ray. And I think for either of these teams, it's going to be who's going to be able to get things started. Because with both these pitchers, right, you got to get to them early because once they settle in, they're those type of arms. They settle in and it's over too. If they find their groove, they find their rhythm, they find their comfort level where they're working, you're not really getting a lot of hits off of them. So it's about getting to them early. Ayla's been great too, especially first inning, getting on base and getting things started. That first matchup too, and the matchup every time around against Ayla Ray, I think is going to be interesting for Melina Toth against Fitch for tonight.
All right, what about Canfield? If Canfield wins tonight, who do you think will be an X factor in their victory?
I'm going with my girl Leah Figueroa behind the plate. I think her defense is going to be huge tonight, honestly, on that side. But I also think her offense towards near the middle bottom of the order, too. Her bat is going to be huge in bringing up the top, too, and keeping that Canfield lineup deep. And what I've seen from her, you're right, and she supplies power, and she makes that bottom of the lineup that much more dangerous, too. So I'm looking at Leah Figueroa, too, right towards the middle and sometimes towards the bottom, too, to have a big impact today on both sides of the field.
All right, so here are my picks for Fitch. I think someone that doesn't get talked about enough, and I'm going to give her some flowers in this segment. Sam Severin is a bridge player in that lineup because she takes a bottom half of the lineup that is very powerful and the top half of the lineup that is very powerful and kind of gives them that bridge so that the line doesn't stop moving between them. And I think she's a very important key getting on base in that lineup if they're going to keep moving the line. I don't think they're going to get a lot of giant hits against Melina Toth. So they're going to have to manufacture the runs by keeping that line moving. And I think that bridge player in what sixth spot, if I'm not mistaken, usually is going to be really important for Fitch to hand the bat back to the bottom of the order with Abby Toth and Tina Montgomery to set the table back up for them. So I think Sam Severin is going to be a big part if Fitch is able to win. For Canfield, I'm going with who I think is the leader of that offense when they succeed. She's always having a good game. It's Marina Koenig in that offense. One of the extra base hitters, can get doubles, can get triples, can still have a lot of speed on the base pass. And I think she'll have a big game if Canfield's able to win.
She usually does too. Ton of RBIs on the season, bats in the middle of that order, and you're absolutely right. She's huge for this team. I'm excited for this matchup. AAC is on the line, one of the better conferences in the area too, as far as competition's concerned. And I mean, you look at what Boardman and Howland have done too against some pretty tough schedules, and you'd see that there's some talent in this conference too, and these are two of the very best Division One, Division Two, and also number one versus number two in the YSN Power 20. So I don't know how much more exciting you can get.
Also, in my opinion, don't sleep on Haley Freedy in that Canfield lineup. This is her first year in the varsity, but she's a senior that has worked her butt off to get to this point, and she is making the most out of that opportunity. And she's one of those players that, the story is just great, working your butt off. Probably could have gone somewhere else if she wanted to. This transfer culture could have said, hey, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to be in the starting lineup consistently as a sophomore, as a junior. Stuck with it, learned from everybody, worked her butt off, and now she's a consistent member of that lineup, and she's having a great season to cap off her career at Canfield.
I think one other thing we got to talk about too, and about this matchup before we move on from it, is just that circle matchup too. It's going to be interesting. Sydney Watts, Milena Toth. I mean, you're the softball guy, so I'm interested to see what you are looking forward to in the circle from both these arms.
When you talk about this and you talk about pitchers duels, we thought we were going to get like a straight up pitchers duel against Champion with Fitch. Sometimes two really good pitchers, what it does is it raises that level for the hitters, right? They want to beat you even more because they know you're a good pitcher. So I think both these pitchers will definitely have their moments like we saw in the Champion Fitch game. Both will get out of big spots, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of those 6-3, 6-4, 7-5, kind of those kind of games where the offenses are going to raise their game up because all the talk this week has been about Toth versus Watts. What can both these offenses even do to touch them? They have some pride, and I think we saw that in that Champion game. Like, these offenses were kind of sick of hearing, pitchers. They just wanted to get up and prove that they could hit this pitcher. So I think you're going to see the same thing. I would be surprised if it was like a 1-0 game. I think at least one of the teams is going to find some success against this pitcher.
I'm excited too. It might be a case of who blinks first. It could be a back and forth game. You never know. I'm just glad that the rain has subsided and we're finally able to get one of these games off.
Yeah, I was telling Scotty yesterday, it's bad when Fitch is playing because they can play almost anything.
Yeah, I mean, like Fitch hoping those few turf fields too. If they're putting the big X up on it, it's
it's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, it's a no-go for softball too. And when Fitch said we're not just canceling today, we're also canceling tomorrow, I was like, wow, all right.
That shocked me. Because usually Fitch is the team that waits for the last minute. Like,
oh yeah, they're like
they were like, we're out tomorrow too. No. Probably because of the temperature. They're probably, we're not playing this important of a game in 38-degree weather.
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
Well, it's finally happening tonight, and I couldn't be more excited for it too. Big AAC matchup tonight.
Ty, we're excited to hear the call, and I'm excited to be on the call tomorrow. So we'll have both matchups for you tonight and tomorrow between Canfield and Fitch. And Ty, you get the first one, and it's going to be a fun one. Thanks for coming on. I know we miss you on Running Point. You're always welcome anytime you get some time. But thanks for for old time's sake coming on Running Point and talking with us a little bit.
No doubt, and always a great time coming on talking with you too. And I look forward to tonight. Hopefully, we have a good game between these two squads.
Come back on with Scotty, and he's itching
he
to get you some trivia.
Like 40 questions, loaded for me.
He's itching to get you some trivia questions. So come on a Wednesday and prove that you're not trying to dodge him, because
he's calling me out.
He's calling you out all the time.
He's been trying to call me out for weeks now. Maybe
I'll
make an appearance on Wednesday, no doubt. All right, Ann, I'll be talking to you.
All right, have fun, buddy. Ty Bartell, great to have him on the show. Obviously, he spent a long time on Running Point as my co-host. He's a big reason why the show is where it's at now. So anytime I can get him back on, it is a fun day for us. While he's off, we're going to put Greenwood Chevrolet in that top right corner of this show. Like every show is brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. I want to take the time to thank them for their constant sponsorship of not this show, but everything that we do on YSN. But this show in particular, they've been the presenting sponsor since day one, and we wouldn't be where we are without them, of course. So got to thank them, and got to thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their sponsorship of this show and everything they do. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same thing on this show every single day. What we're going to do for the rest of the show is we're going to dive into the tournament time a little bit. Where we did a Division 1 on Tuesday. We looked at the brackets, we looked at all the teams, kind of broke down what the matchups could be. I gave you kind of some half-hearted picks. I wasn't gonna go and pick the whole bracket. I don't have time for that. I would be thinking about it for too long. But I gave you some like suggestions of maybe this team, maybe I'm leaning this team. We're gonna do that for the Division 2 today, and we're gonna go to the um, NEDAB database in the Northeast Ohio district. I think it's the easier place to find everything you would want for these tournament information. Obviously, you can also go to the OHSA main site, but this district site, I think, this has a little bit more. You can see the voting results and you can see the seedings. Um, and then all the brackets are right there for you. You don't have to guess which one you're trying to look at. So I always go to the Northeast District website, which is just ohsaa.org and then /northeast-sports for those of you that are looking for it. Or you can just Google NEDAB and it will come up as the first result. Let's look at the seedings again for Division 2 and see how they panned out. Once again, I'm not going to go over the voting results here because they're tiny and it's hard to look at for me. But you can always go on to this page and see how teams voted and see how it shook out based on what teams thought deserved to be the 1, the 2, and everything else. Marlington does get the 1 seed, so they kind of spoil YSN's ability to say that we sweep the divisions in 1 seeds. We have 3 out of the 4. Canfield is the 2, Aurora the 3, Field the 4, and so on. I went over the whole list on Monday, so I'm not going to read everybody off again, but you can see there all the teams that are in Division 2 that are going to be fighting for district championships right there. Once again, Marlington the 1, Canfield the 2. I think that's a mistake, but maybe we're a little bit biased because we're YSN. So we'll go back and we'll go into the brackets for Division 2. We'll start with Northeast 1 as we see the top seeded Marlington at the top half of the bracket. They're going to be playing the winner of Painesville, Harvey, and Conneaut. Conneaut, a new member of the YSN family, trying to pull off a big upset that will go on the road to Harvey on the 9th. We go a little bit further down this sectional semifinal, not decided yet. Neither team has a bye, as West Branch is going to host Kenston in the first round of the playoffs, and then we'll have them against the winners of a very good Edgewood team going up against Crestwood. I think this is a pretty interesting matchup because they've played each other this year. Edgewood has definitely gotten the edge of the regular season matchups, but Crestwood is a very prominent program when it comes to tournament success. They know how to win inside the tournament, and they know what it takes. They've been to state finals. They've been to state semis. They're a program with a pedigree, and I always think those programs are a little bit dangerous when you're talking about tournament time. So I wouldn't sleep on Crestwood if I was Edgewood, but obviously Edgewood already gotten a couple of wins against the Red Devils this year. So I would lean towards Edgewood as long as they take care of business. Aurora is sitting there as the 3 seed. They decided to go after the 1 seeded Marlington Dukes instead of trying to go after Canfield. That's always the interesting decision to see what 3 seeds do, because 1 and 2 obviously pick opposite brackets most of the time, and then 3 has the opportunity to either pick 1 or 2. And they went after the 1 seed. They were going to be at the bottom of this bracket. They will play the winner of Geneva and West Geauga, which is a non-YSN matchup. But I think I've seen Geneva play enough to say that I think they'll have the edge in that game. They have the offense to back up pitching that can be good at times, not consistent, but when it's on, it's really good. Jefferson area also now in the bottom of this bracket. They will await the winner of Cheney and Ursuline. This game will be, at Ursuline 5 o'clock on the 9th. If Ursuline's able to win this game, Jefferson Ursuline would actually be a really solid matchup. I would love to see Sammy Speakman go up against Mia Opolek in the circle. And one of the things about Ursuline that you can't really take for granted, especially in tournament time, is they have 2 arms they feel really confident in throwing in Liza Barbado and Mia Opolek. So whether it be in a game, they can pitch by committee if they want to, or they can just do that during the tournament, pitch one on one day, pitch the other on the other. But the one thing about that is you're always going to have a fresh arm. You're never going to have to worry about gas and fatigue. So Ursuline could have that advantage But obviously, in this one, it'll be Jefferson with the bye, so they will have a fresh Sammy Speakman, and Ursuline will have a fresh arm as well if they decide to go 1 and 2. So that should be a fun one between Jefferson and Ursuline if it works out that way. If Ursuline's able to take care of their conference foe Cheney, who they've handled in the regular season so far. So if we look at the way that the district semifinals would shape up, I have to lean Ursuline in that game. Lean um, lightly because of Ursuline's drive to get where they were last year. They've lost 2 regional championships in a row, both in a heartbreaking fashion. They returned quite a good number of players that were a part of that, and they played a really tough schedule. So I kind of lean towards Ursuline. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Jefferson, but either way, Jefferson or Ursuline against pretty much as close as you can get guarantee to Aurora. Um, that'll be a really fun matchup. And Aurora is a team that is a Division 2, but playing a Division 1 schedule because they moved down from last year. So they still have that schedule that really is built for a Division 1 team, and that's kind of scary when you think about it. But we have seen them on YSN a couple of times. They have played YSN teams. They haven't looked unbeatable. So I wouldn't be one of those teams that says, well, they're not going to get past Aurora. Like, I think they're a team they can be beaten. They do have their flaws. Especially, I think their lineup isn't exactly the deepest 1 through 9. So I think if you find a way to navigate their top 5 hitters, which is very tough, but if you find a way to get through 6 through 9, and you're mowing those down, I think we've seen before there can be some hiccups in softball if you don't have a deep lineup um, on that particular day. And then, Marlington at the top, they are going to either match. I mean, the highest seed they can match up with is the 8th seed in Edgewood. And Edgewood, West Branch, probably in the sectional final. That'll be a good one because those two teams starting to know each other in the tournament time. They played each other in the sectional final in basketball as well. That was the second straight year that basketball teams have played each other in the sectionals, and now here they are playing each other in softball. If both teams take care of business, um, I think West Branch has seen the better schedule. That would be a tough one to pick, which is why I don't have to pick them. But yeah, it would be a really good game between West Branch and Edgewood if that were to be the matchup. And of course, that game would be in Edgewood on the 11th if that were to happen. But either one going up against Marlington, and I'm looking at Marlington, and West Branch gave Marlington a heck of a game the first time they played, 2-0. They lost to the Dukes. So West Branch has definitely proven that they can contend with the Dukes on a good day. When Clary McClay is pitching well, they can definitely match up with the Dukes pretty well. So I think that would be an interesting kind of third matchup if Marlington and West Branch were to meet each other in a district semifinal. And then, of course, if the chalk plays out, it would be 1 versus 3 in the district championship. Marlington trying to win a district championship. I believe they won last year. I know 2 years ago they barely won. Hubbard had them on the ropes with their team 2 years ago. One of those games that honestly should have went Hubbard's way. And the game before that, Marlington almost lost to Lakeview. So YSN had 2 games in a row 2 years ago against Marlington where it was really close to us getting the upset win. So we'll see how that one goes. We'll go to East 2 and look at Canfield's bracket real quick. They're going to be at the top as the 2 seed. They will await the winner of Perry. That's the Perry Pirates against Salem. Pretty interesting 17-22 matchup. I think Salem, like West Branch, has seen a pretty tough schedule traveling down to Myrtle Beach, and Perry Pirates in a down year. They're kind of, for the first time in a while, not winning like they're used to. They lost a very long conference win streak, 70-plus games to Edgewood this season, and they've only won 4 games when these records were reported. So Perry kind of, for the first time in a while, in a program that is dealing with some adversity. So I'm really interested to see how they come out in a tournament setting, how confident they are, how much mental strength they have in a team going that way. If they're not, I think absolutely Salem can take advantage of that and get a first round win. I wouldn't be shocked if Salem pulls off the upset here in Perry and gets Canfield round one. Obviously, we're rooting for that because Salem is a YSN team. We go to the next half of the bracket, which is who Canfield would be watching for in the sectional final. And we have NDCL versus Ravenna, and then we have Hubbard, who's not seated on the bracket, but they are also going to be playing Youngstown East, and that's the higher seeded Hubbard team. I'd have to go back to remember exactly what they're seeded, but Hubbard would I know Hubbard would be the home team there. Hubbard is sneaky good. They have two pitchers they can throw at you with Phoebe Resnack and Haley Taylor. A really actually pretty good lineup to my opinion, with Lauren Komarak, who's hit home runs against really good pitchers like Katie McDonald and Emily Rosales. Lauren is a good hitter, and then you have Phoebe, who's also leading off that lineup as well as in the circle half the time. Yeah, you have some really good players down there in Hubbard. I wouldn't be surprised if Hubbard gets their way to a district semifinal and matches up with Canfield there, who should have a pretty good path to the district semifinals if the chalk works out. We go to the bottom half, and the teams that decided to go up against Canfield, obviously Mogador Field as the 4 seed, didn't want to follow Aurora and make that bracket really, really tough. So they went into Canfield's district as the 4 seed. We saw them lose to Boardman 7-5 in the last time we saw them on YSN, but they've also beaten Louisville in a game. I believe that final score was 12-7 earlier in the season. They're going to be waiting Girard and Struthers, an NE8 matchup in round 1 of the tournament. I think Girard has the advantage in this game. Obviously, the familiarity. Struthers is having a struggle year, and Girard has a lot of seniors that are going to be hungry to get a tournament win. So I would lean Girard in that one to go and match up again with Field. We go down to the bottom, and that's going to be Alliance, the 7th seed, having a resurgent kind of year. I think Alliance took a lot of people off guard in that EBC, and they will be playing the winner of Niles and Howland. I would really, really like to see a Howland Alliance matchup. I think that would be really fun. Brooke Tater and Spengler, obviously, a 1-2 punch for the Tigers. The lineup for the Tigers is really good, especially with some of the hitters in the bottom half starting to find some confidence, like Jade Fizette, for example. I think this Howland team striding at the right time. They had a really good week last week before the rain kind of dampened on things. They're set to play, I believe, Boardman at home tonight, so we'll see how they do in that Boardman series. Very excited for a possible Howland Alliance matchup, and that would be Ed Howland if it was to happen. If Howland is able to get into the district semis, and the chalk plays up at the top, Mogador versus Howland, I think that would be a really good matchup as well. I think Howland plays a very Division One type schedule, like we talked about with Aurora, playing the teams they do. Excuse me there, but yeah, I think Howland versus Field would be a really good game. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Howland gets into a district championship and we see an AAC district final in this bracket with Canfield versus Howland. That would be fun because we'd be guaranteed someone in regionals, and so would the conference. I think every coach inside the AAC, once tournament time starts, if they're not matched up with each other, definitely roots for their conference teams to go out there and win. And the good thing is none of our AAC teams, other than Canfield and Howland, are matched up with each other. Boardman and Fitch are in separate districts, so they can both win a district championship without having to knock out the other. So there's a look at the Division II bracket. Not as many teams as the YSN network as there used to be. A lot of teams dropped into Division III or moved up to Division I. Division II has become a lot more. I don't want to say easy because that's the wrong word. It's never easy to get to state. It's all the teams that were very, very good and with a high program pedigree that knows how to go out there and win, kind of moved out of Division II a little bit. So That's what I was trying to say. I mean, it's not going to be easy for Canfield to get the state, but you can definitely see the doors opening a little bit more than they were last year when they had to go up against Triway, who was as close as you can be to a lock in this sport of winning a state championship with the roster they had. Now they don't have the same roster they do this year. They lost a couple of players to Ohio State, but they still have Carter Wechtel, the Georgia Tech commit, in the circle for Triway. So you have her, you have an AAC commit, then you're going to be doing good things. They're down there in Division 3. They're in our region, and actually they would match up with the South Range District Championship, the South Range District Champion in the regional semis, Worcester Triway, down there in Division 3. So that's kind of a look at the two brackets for Division 2. We're going to keep trucking along the rest of the week and do Divisions 3 and 4, and we'll definitely have you prepared by the time tournament starts. That's how Division 2 looks, though. We're going to pull us back up. We're going to take a break. And when we get back, we're going to go to the interview section of the show. We do have one to play for you guys today, like we try to do every day. It is with Hannah Heath, one of the seniors of the Western Reserve softball team that is currently undefeated with a 13-0 record. They'll play in Springfield tonight, so that'll be a fun one. So before that game, hear from one of the seniors of Western Reserve next on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We're going to get right to the interview, so we have time to get in. Hannah Heath from Western Reserve. Hope you enjoy this talk with the senior Blue Devil. Anthony Hartwig here with a Western Reserve player profile on the softball diamond. I am joined by Hannah Heath. Hannah, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today on this interview.
Thank you for having me.
This is a Western Reserve team that is off and running so far this season, 13-0. So the first question for you is, what has been such a big contributor to the early success from your perspective?
I honestly think that our coaching staff came in and really pushed us hard to make sure we were in the weight room, make sure we were in the gym, getting swings in, taking reps. And I really think that the girls that are playing, I've played with since we were little. So we know how each other plays and we have like great bonds together. And it's just been so fun to be able to just spend all those hours in the gym with them and just get better.
Let's go through like the first couple stages of the season. Maybe you're 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. When did it start to set in with this team that, okay, we're putting together something really special and we are really capable of doing really good things this year?
Personally, I think that we didn't really get to the mindset of, wow, this is really going to be amazing until like more recently when it came to like tournament talk and like what the end of the season for us, because we were just kind of having fun and playing and, going out there and doing our best every single game. So we weren't really coming out with the mindset of we're going to be top dog all the time. It was just we're going to play hard and give it our all every game. And I think that's really the mindset that we needed coming into the season.
And, talking about tournament talk, I know you guys still have a lot of important games in your schedule before you get to a tournament bracket, but you did get the 1 seed. I mean, when that came out and the poll came out and you saw that the area teams voted you guys as 1, did that give you guys like somewhat of a confidence boost or a sense of excitement to know that like you're the 1 seed going into the district tournament?
Yes, it definitely did. We were definitely excited, but it also gave us a lot of motivation too, because we know from here on out that any game that we play on the field, every team's going to come after us. Every team's going to want to beat us because we are undefeated and we're also now the 1 seed. So it just gave us that motivation to make sure that we're working hard in practices and always coming ready to go, because everyone's going to want to beat us. Everyone's going to have a reason to beat us.
You still have a lot in front of you with games against Springfield left and games against McDonald, who are 2 teams who are trying to kind of fight you for that MVAC championship that is still kind of up in the air. When you look at the remaining part of your schedule and you look at how it's kind of worked out, where those teams are going to pop up before tournament time, how exciting is it to know that you're going to play some of the best teams that pop up on your schedule right before you head into districts?
It's honestly really exciting because that we're going to play some good competition right before tournament time, and I think that's exactly what we need. We need those good competitive games where we're pushing ourselves to make sure we're on the top of our game, and it's just going to get us ready for that next step of tournament play.
With all this nasty weather, you guys haven't been able to be on the field in a while. I think you went, 1 game in the last week or so. What's that been like for you guys, itching to get back on the softball field and trying to put in the work, but also every time that a game gets canceled, I'm sure you get more and more anxious, like, okay, we really want to get back to, playing.
Yeah, I kind of take each cancel with a little bit of both a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, we want to play and get back on the field, but you also get to go and practice and get more reps in and just practice your craft of the game of softball. So you really have to take the positive and negatives of each side and just make sure that you're taking that practice time and imagining yourself, playing in a game as you're hitting off the tee or as you're hitting off the machine, as you're fielding your ground balls, as you're throwing it. You just put yourself in those high pressure situations in practice. So then when you get in game time, it's like nothing.
We've seen a lot of teams take this time off or this weather to try to build some team bonding activities, try to build some team chemistry. Have you guys been doing that as well?
Every practice is basically a team bonding for us. We are always talking. We are always just having conversations and like water breaks. We're always talking. Coach sometimes has to tell us to refocus up sometimes because we're talking too much, but it's really great. I mean, like I said earlier, these girls I've played with since we were little, and I've played, travel ball, rec ball, t-ball with most of these girls all my life. So we're just best friends on and off the field. So it's always a team bonding exercise.
You've been playing with these girls, like you said, your whole life, and now you're a senior at Western Reserve, and you realize that your career at Western Reserve, at least, is coming to an end, and your time with playing with these girls is starting to kind of become numbered. What's that been like for you, navigating those emotions, knowing that, okay, the season's starting to get, we're in May now, and the games are getting lower and lower?
I've honestly tried not to think about it too much because it makes me sad, but I'm kind of just trying to cherish all the memories and just make sure that, I'm smiling and coming in with positive attitudes no matter what's happening, and just kind of enjoying all the little moments at practice and the games, and just making sure that all the girls are having fun, because I know that these memories throughout high school are going to last forever.
Even though you've been somewhat of a leader throughout the years past, every time you get to a senior year, you're asked to be even more of a leader. More responsibilities are put on your shoulders. How have you handled that, the leadership responsibilities of being a senior? How do you think you've been able to navigate that?
I think knowing the girls personally outside of just softball have definitely helped, because I'm able to, talk to each individual girl differently, of like, if someone's having a bad day or somebody's not doing well as they would like, I know specifically each girl and how to handle that situation. So I think that really helps. And just being able to be like motivational and sending like little group chats of, it's game day and like, let's go, and like just being happy and making sure that they're all pumped up before we get there. That's really the biggest part.
You brought up earlier about how Coach Sarinsky came in this year and really raised the standard of this program and got you guys to kind of be a different sense of focus. What's it been like having her this year as a new head coach?
Oh, she's amazing. You could ask any girl on the team. We love our coaches. They've really brought this knowledge of the game. And like you said, they've really pushed us to make sure that we're going to the top of our ability, and they're just so aggressive, but like fun aggressive. Like they're pushing you to make sure you're focused, but yet they're also doing it with a smile on their face, which just feeds off of the whole team. So we're all smiling, but also being very motivated and focused at the same time. And I think that that's how we play our best game, is when we're happy, but we're also very motivated and focused.
What was it like having a coaching change your senior year and go back into like those times when it was kind of up in the air on who was going to be the coach, and maybe before you got to really get a chance to know Coach Sarinsky and really know what he was going to be about in this program? What was that like for you going into your senior year with trying to mentally prepare for maybe building a new relationship with a new coach?
She made it very easy on us to get to know her, because at the beginning of the season, it was very, the open gyms were very open, and it was just open as in like we talked a lot. We talked a lot during the open gyms, and it was just really nice, because I came in my sophomore year without playing. We didn't play a whole season my freshman year, but I came into my sophomore year with another new coach. And I thought that it was just, another new opportunity for the whole team to come in and learn and just buy into what the coach was telling us to do, because you have to buy in and be a unit as a team for any success to be possible. So it was just, we had to all buy in.
When we talked to Coach Sarinsky earlier as part of her preseason preview of this team, one of the things that she said, which I loved, was that this is kind of her dream job. Like, she wanted to coach Western Reserve softball for a long time, and she finally got a hold of it. When you have a coach that acts like that kind of treats you guys like it's a dream job to coach you, what does that do for this team and being able to trust her and trust everything that she's telling you guys?
Well, you can just tell in her attitude at every single practice or every single game that she wants to be there. She is there for us. She is there only to make us better. And it's a whole different feeling, because you know that she's truly invested. So you almost have that extra motivation, because you know that she's rooting for you 10 times out of 10. So when you go up to bat or you go onto that field, you know that your coach has your back too. And that's just another great feeling to have, because your mindset in this game is so important. And I think it just adds so much confidence in us.
All right, back in February, you made a decision on your future, on where you were going to go to continue your softball career. For our viewers or your fans that maybe didn't catch that, or maybe have been living under a rock, I don't know, they don't know. Don't want to take that moment away from you, though. Why don't you tell everybody where you're going to be playing at the next 4 years after you get out of Western Reserve?
I have committed to play for Hiram College.
When you were going through your recruitment process, what was it about Hiram College that made it a landing spot, that made you know that you wanted to go to that place?
It's a very small college, so the class sizes are very, very small. And academically, it was just my perfect school that I wanted. It has my major that I wanted, which is biomedical humanities, because I want to go for pre-med, because I want to become a doctor. And then also I met the coach, Coach Collins. She is absolutely amazing. Her energy is unmatched. She is so aggressive. She is so happy all the time. She's also their strength and conditioning coach, and I love to lift, and they have a huge lifting program there in their softball program. And just the entire school just feels like a home away from home, and I was just felt so at home as soon as I visited.
The cool thing about Hiram and some of the athletes that we've talked to in the past that have signed to it, it's far enough away that you still get that college experience of being away from home, but not so far away that you feel so like detached from your family. How much did that kind of go into your decision making, knowing that you were going to get that college experience, you were going to be out of the nest per se, but it also wasn't going to be so far that you couldn't come home on a weekend or come home, during a week or whatever it may be, pretty easily.
Yeah, it's only 45 minutes away from my house, maybe close to 40. And it just makes me so happy because my family has been a big part of my softball journey in general. And just knowing that I could come home and, get some tea work with my dad if I felt like it, or just come home and have family dinner with them, or just like come see my friends. It means a lot that I'm only going to be like 45 minutes away, but it's also nice because I am going to get that college experience and be a little bit away from home, that I still get that feeling of being away.
When did playing at the next level become an obtainable goal for you, where you realize this is something I can do, this is something I can work towards, and it really became something that was right there in your goal set?
I'd have to say the start of my sophomore season, it was really like apparent to me that my travel coach started talking to me about it, and I was kind of like, it's always been my dream, but I guess I never thought about like the actual recruiting process and how to get into that and everything. So my travel coach and then my dad, of course, was just talking me into it and being like, "Hey, why don't you start reaching out to some coaches and send them some of your stats, some of your videos?" And it just became like a wow, like I could really be going somewhere if I, reach out and talk to people.
You say it was a dream, it was always a dream, then it became obtainable. So what was it like when you're sitting there, you have the letter in front of you and you sign it, and all that dream and all that hard work is a reality? What was that moment like for you?
Oh, it was surreal. I remember having my whole team there and just thinking like, wow, I've met so many people, met so many coaches, have so many like hours and hours of time putting in work for this, and it was just I can't say anything else, but it was a dream. I still can't believe it's real. I can't wait.
You signed before your season started. What was that like, knowing that you go into your senior season, you know where you're going, you don't have to worry about recruiting or anything like that or impressing coaches, and you can just focus on being the best player you can be at Western Reserve? What was that like, signing before your senior season?
It was awesome. I really liked signing before the season because it gave me some of that relief of, okay, it's done with. You don't have to do it during season. It's not going to be like a center of attention thing during the season, because that's what I didn't want to do. I wanted to get it over with, be done, because I'm very team oriented, and I didn't want any of the highlight of the season to be specifically on me, because these girls deserve all the praise in the world. My teammates are amazing. They're amazing people, they're amazing players. They deserve all the highlights ever.
As you're getting ready to graduate, you have to get a little bit reflective and think about your time at Western Reserve, not just with the softball program, but with the school system and with everyone that goes to the school and all the people that work for it. What are going to be some of the things you missed most about the community, about the school system, about being a part of this Western Reserve program?
I'm gonna miss the people. I'm gonna miss the support of just all the teachers, like, are so involved in everything and they know everyone. So when you walk the halls, like they're always like, "Oh, great game last night," or "Oh, are you guys going to the game?" And like there's just so much support of the community, and everybody walking around knows that the football team won, or the volleyball team won, or the basketball team won, or the softball team won. And just it's an amazing experience of just having such a close-knit community that is so supportive in everything we do. And even in academics, like we're always having award ceremonies and everybody's always being acknowledged for academics as well. So it's an amazing community.
All right, Hannah, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to kind of thank your support system and all the people that have been there for you throughout your career, and kind of the people that you wouldn't be here without. Give them a shout out.
I have to thank my family, my siblings, my mom, my dad. My dad's been since day one, since I started the sport. He's taking me to lessons. He's been my coach. He's been my coach on and off the field. My mom, she's been my rock. She's always there talking with me after I've talked to my dad for 2 hours after a game or after a practice. And my siblings, they come and they support. They've been to countless travel softball tournaments and spend hours just sitting there watching softball. So I have to thank them, of course. And then my coaches, my travel ball coach, Bill Blackie, he has been an amazing guy in my life. He has really pushed me to be the best that I can be and has supported really my entire process of softball. And also my pitching coach, Brett Modig, he's been a great guy to have. He's really brought me back from pitching. I didn't get to pitch my junior year, and I worked all off season, and he has really gotten me to the point that I am now. And I want to go back to my dad. My dad, he has put in so much work with me, so much work, and it makes me so happy that just he is there all the time, whether it's just to talk about stuff, whether it's to look at video film, he'll video for me. He's always sending me videos of how to be better or what stretches to do or what drills to do. He's truly been the best ever. And the both Serensky coaches, they have been amazing this year. I can't give them enough praise. These girls that are coming up for the next few years, getting to play with them are so lucky. They're great coaches, great positive, very good knowledge of the game, and I'm very excited to see where Western Reserve softball goes after my time here.
All right, Hannah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck going forward. We know that you want to keep this undefeated streak going as long as possible. We wish you can, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you again real soon.
Thank you.
Hannah Heath, what a great interview with her, the Western Reserve senior. That's going to do it for today's episode of Running Point. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a bunch of softball on the network today and baseball. Go to ysnlive.com/live to check out our full schedule. For myself, Ty Bartell, who was on the show earlier, we want to thank Hannah Heath for her time, of course, and for my man, Lord Vader. We'll wish you the very happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, and we'll see you tomorrow on Cinco de Mayo. Maybe we'll get me in a sombrero. Who knows? We'll see you tomorrow, everybody, on Running Point. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet.